Welcome back, Ed. Man, we gotta quit doing this like 2 week, 3 week, 4 week hiatus thing.
Well,
I
you
mean, I
know,
know I'm a busy person now with Bearcat Journal and all that, but
okay. All right. All right. I didn't take very long to plug that now, did it?
so we are coming at you. We got myself, Ed, here running things on the production end. We have Clay here doing his thing as per usual with us. And then we do have special guest Seth Augustiniak, who is part of the Reds ground crew. You may remember him. There is a chalk slash tape outline of his body on the tarp next to the right field wall, probably still down at Great American Ballpark. Seth, you are a second year grounds crew here for the Cincinnati Reds. What the hell was going on this year? It was crazy, right?
It honestly was. It was pretty cool though. It was pretty memorable.
I bet it was. I mean, like you guys are the only ones there who are literally get to watch a baseball game this year, like in person, except for apparently now the NL whatever is going to let a couple thousand people in for the next playoff games. But yeah, you guys are like the only ones who get to watch a live baseball game this year. And pretty much it's a private show for you. How was that?
It was pretty cool. So there was the grounds crew, and then there was the ballpark ops. Basically, were the only other people that were there, and then Kastruki and all them, or they were all the higher ups were pretty much they had their own suites and everything. So it was pretty big. They were watching us basically the whole game. We normally for like last year compared to this year, since this year's was a lot different, the whole situation. We're normally in the we have a little radar room kind of underneath the stands in the Reds dugout. There's a camera bay. We normally get to sit there and watch the game, but due to the whole situation, we had to move to the stands.
I mean, that's
So,
not a bad situation to be in.
No, not at all. It was still pretty cool.
so you have a claim to fame. You face planted on that. Was that nationally televised or was it just regionally?
I thought the game was just on Fox Sports Ohio, but I guess the camera lady, she said that was like, I guess maybe nationally televised. Just right when that happened, I'm like, oh great.
Now, did you make SportsCenter like not top 10?
I don't know about not top 10, but I was on there. I was on Barstool, Starting Nine, Sports Center's Instagram. I was pretty much everywhere that night.
That's I mean, you were kind of popular before that because you had always hustled out there to get the ball, right? I remember the broadcasters talking about you and everything like that. But then just like just an unlucky slip, huh?
Yeah, so I basically, since they weren't allowing ball boys, uh, we were asked if one of us could do it, or two of us, one on each side. And I kind of volunteered for it the whole season. I'm like, it's fun. I don't really care. So, and they basically told us, get to the ball, get off the field fast, and then get back to the play. And they started towards the end of the season, the camera started to focus on me when I was doing it. And then Jim Day called me the hustler, and then the eventful happened.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, what has been, I mean, obviously there's been changes outside of just like being underneath in the radar room this season, but what's been like the biggest adjustment for the grounds crew this year outside of, just moving where you're traditionally set up?
There was a lot of restrictions, like certain places we couldn't go. Like when the team buses would leave at night, we had to wait until all the buses were gone and all that. We had to pretty much stay out of the way of the players most of the time.
So, were you guys tested as well
Yes, we were.
all the time, like several times a week?
Occasionally.
Did you have to talk to that guy that Trevor Bauer had to talk to every day?
No, he was the COVID checking guy, as they call him.
Checking guy, yeah.
He was, since there was three different tiers for employees. Tier one was the players. And then like some of the translators, the staff, the like, coaches, and all that. Tier 2 was my boss, and then some other higher ups, and then tier 3 was just the regular employees, which the regular grounds crew. And I'm assuming since he had to interact with the players, he probably was a tier 2.
Nice. He got popular on YouTube too.
Yes, he did.
Now, was there ever?
Go ahead.
I was going to say. I know I read a story where Joey Votto heard that you guys were annoying an unnamed player. I don't know, if you know who potentially that unnamed player might have been. I like to think it may have been a first baseman for the Cubs.
Rizzo.
Rizzo, he wasn't annoyed by us. He was happy that we were talking.
No.
Of course he was, because they're always chirping. However, so do you know who that unnamed player may have been, or do you have a guess?
We think it possibly might have been Kansas City's first baseman, O'Hearn, because the one time he ground out, and we were yelling at him and everything, and he just yelled at us, and he just yelled at us. It was ridiculous, but it was like the best moment ever, literally, because that means we got in his head.
That's fantastic. Now,
So I have a quick question. Without any fans, do the players in between innings, are they a little bit looser? Do they maybe say some things that they wouldn't say now that there aren't any fans? Or if you can maybe give us an example or a story of something that you've heard in between innings when the players are coming on or off the field.
I mean, most of the time, they basically talk the same way they normally would. It's a lot quieter, so you'd be able to hear it more. But like some of the players would be some of the Spanish guys, or guys that speak Spanish. They would all talk in Spanish in their own little area in the dugout and all that. But we really didn't get to hear a lot of the conversations per se. But
so did you ever wear the bucket on your head? Where did that actually come about from? And does the person who was wearing the bucket still have a migraine?
I never got a chance to wear it. I volunteered to, but so the guy that actually wore it, Alex, I don't know how to say his last name, but we call him AP. He's the guy that actually jersey swapped with Rizzo. And it was, I guess, the spur of the moment. He said if they hit a home run here, he's gonna put the bucket on his head, and you guys start pounding on it, and it just from there it went on from there.
Nice.
So the story that we heard on the news was that you guys were being loud and everything, and then Votto heard that somebody was annoyed by it. So he just showed up one day with a box full of instruments for you guys to bang on. And I mean, I remember I think the first game you guys had it, I thought somebody was banging on a fence like the whole time, and I kept tweeting like, "Who is banging on a fence? This is ridiculous. Are the Astros in town?" But then I realized you guys had a bunch of instruments. How did that go about?
So I think it was either the first or second game. I was on the first base side. Everybody else in the ground crew was on third base side. I know the first game, it went viral when Moose hit the home run. Everybody did the antlers, but we were all being loud. And then Joey looked over to me and said, "Hey, I'm gonna buy you guys some instruments." And then I guess that night he went and bought some online. And then I think by the second homestand they were there. But the instruments had to quarantine for a little bit, like 2 days. But other than that, then we got those. Yeah, we got those, and we just started making noise.
We don't want an NBA bubble situation.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of instruments for you guys, but they're in quarantine for a couple of days.
Yeah.
So some of the questions that I had been given, and I'll give them both to you because the one is kind of rhetorical. But one of one of my friends asked how it felt to be the second biggest faceplant of the year to Tom Brenneman.
Oh,
Yeah.
geez.
And the other question was, what was your actual first thought after you faceplanted?
So my first thought, right when because I normally go for the corner of the wall there, like when the wall straightens out after it goes from the right field line and then it digs back in. I normally go right there because it's an easy access because the row's right there. So I just jump on the wall, jump straight down. But for some odd reason, I got in my head. Right when I went out, I look up and they had me on the jumbotron. I'm like, oh no, this is not gonna be good. And then when I was going back, I was like, I should change it up a little bit, try to go for something a little bigger. And then I went for the tarp because I'm like, more surface area makes sense. And then right when my leg hit the tarp, it slipped and gave out, and I'm like, oh no. And then I got up and I'm like, whew, that could have been a lot worse. I got up, went back, and I was like, they probably got that on. That's going to be everywhere.
And
My
it
wife
was.
was real worried that you hit your face, but I was like, I think he saved his face. I don't think he hit it.
Luckily, there was the door right where my face was going. So basically, only my hip hit the wall.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think they keep that chalk outline there forever now. I think they should.
I would assume it's probably still there, but I haven't been back since I work at Paul Brown during the day, so I haven't been back.
I got a buddy who works in IT. I'll tell him to make sure it stays there. Well, I doubt he has any, but I'll try for you.
Yeah.
I'll try. Yeah.
Hey, I don't know this, but Ed's IT buddy actually runs the Cincinnati Reds and makes those kind of calls, apparently.
He's high up there. Yeah.
Hey, Seth. So I did a quick Twitter search of your name to try to find you on Twitter. There's only 3 total tweets with your name in it that I can find. One was introducing you as a grounds crew, and another one was saying that you qualified for districts in 2016 for wrestling. So congratulations on that, buddy.
Yeah, that was my old high school days. Yeah.
So
It's kind of weird because I actually my name on my Twitter is actually my nickname. So I kind of did my Twitter during high school, so I just did my nickname.
That's
so
my nickname too.
so do you have any good stories of any interactions with the players from this season?
Our whole interaction with Rizzo was so funny. We would all be like, we'd all just talk to him. We would ask him questions. He would either go if he was more focused on the play, like if the pitch was about to happen, he would point his fingers 1 or 2. But like we asked him one time, is it called cornhole or bags? And he said cornhole. And then we were joking around. We were like, your wife's cookies taste like mayonnaise. We were joking around with him and everything.
Is that your sister in the outfield? She's
What was
naked.
that?
I was just quoting a line from The Sandlot. Porter, who's like, "Is that your sister in the outfield?" She's naked. That's what I like. If I would have been on the grounds crew, which you guys never want me on the grounds crew, I can't even keep my grass green here in my house. But like, I would make it my life's goal to be the first grounds crewman ejected from the game.
Oh, we were towards the end of the season. We were being so loud that the one series after some of like the check swings and stuff the Reds would have, we'd be like, "Nope, we didn't go." We would just scream that and stuff, and the umps got pissed at us and were like, "Hey, you guys can't do that anymore because it's affecting our call."
Oh my god.
That would have been.
Yeah, so we were told, "Yeah, you guys can't do that anymore."
That would have made it up there with the stopping the game because the owner was standing in the third row. I remember the third row,
The Nationals.
no one around him without a mask on. There, and then the guy in Boston. Was it Boston?
I know the Nationals GM did that, and they're in his own little box. I don't remember where, but yeah, he wasn't wearing a mask and he was yelling, and they kicked him out. I think it was Joe West that kicked him out.
There's no feet of me.
So, Seth, can you kind of walk us through what a day looks like on a normal game day for you all? What time you get to the stadium? Let's say it's a 7:00 game. Just kind of walk us through what it would look like.
So let's say it's a 7:00 game on Saturday. So if it's sometimes it varies what time my boss says what time we come in. Most of the time it's 9. Every once in a while we'll get 10 a.m. But if it's 9 a.m. we come in, and this depends on if we have fans. If there's fans in the stands, we'll have to blow the warning track. But if there's not, like this year was kind of nice. We didn't have to blow the warning track from like all the trash and stuff in the stands. And then we'd go to the bullpens, patch them up, get them ready for the day. While we have like I think 3 or 4 people doing them, 1 or 2 either on each bullpen. Then we would have someone working on home, someone working on the mound, and then my boss would normally drag the infield, get the actual dirt all settled in, get it all ready, and then we'd have another 2 people working on the baseline, scratching them out, getting them ready, put a little conditioner on them, and then by the time all that's just about done, we water the infields, and then we'll normally chalk it before lunch. So we'll chalk the dirt. We won't chalk the warning track. We'll wait till game time to do that. So we'll chalk the dirt, and then we normally go to lunch. After lunch, depends on what time they have BP, early work. They were very notorious for a little bit of early work. That was not fun sometimes. But they go to an early work. We'd take the cage out, put the cage on home, put the mats on home, and then depends on how many guys they'll have out there. We'll put the side mats out, and then we'll probably, if it's only gonna be like a couple people, we'll put the small front mat out. And then once all that's done, they'll go to regular BP. We'll put the big front mat out, the pitching mound, the L screen, put the screens out at right field, left field, center, second. Then we have a first and third base screen. They'll hit BP, and then we'll tear it all down, take the cage back to the shop, take everything back to the shop. Then we'll basically kind of do what we did in the morning for baselines, home, get it all ready to go for the game, water before the game, and chalk the warning track, and pretty much game time.
How many guys you guys got out there doing that?
I normally most of the games we had like 20 plus people. I think there's like 30, 40 people on our staff, but only like 20 people ish can make it a game sometimes.
Gotcha. My boss would have had just 5 people doing that.
That was my days in Toledo. We only had like 5 people.
Gotcha.
It was not fun.
I didn't mean
So
that.
were you with? Oh, sorry, Ed.
No, I was just saying I didn't really mean that if my boss actually listens.
Seth, I assume that you were with Toledo Mud-Hens, is that right?
Yes, I worked there for
Who
2
was
years.
who was your favorite Toledo Mud-Hen, or like maybe a couple like the big names that you saw come through and play in Toledo?
Jacoby Jones was there when I was there. Mikey Matuk was there. I went to say my favorite was Efren Navarro. He was my favorite.
What about Christian Cologne?
Wrong organization, Ed.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Well, now Christian Cologne.
Clay's. That's a big fan of Clay's.
Christian Cologne would have played for the Bats, who played the Toledo Mud-Hens, 8, 10, 12 times a year?
Something like that.
That's the worst.
I think Candelario was there a couple times when I was there. The Castro brothers were there. Now they're up in Detroit. Buck Farmer, he was in Toledo, and then he got called up. So, I mean, pretty much just about everybody in their Detroit lineup was from Toledo when I was there.
Nice.
Well, the only other question I have, just kind of off the top of my head, I guess, did you guys get to actually interact with the players? I know we saw, like, at the end of the season, you guys were actually recognized as the only team that was actually – or the only crew that was high-fived by the actual team when it actually happened. So I don't know if that kind of was a trend that took off throughout MLB or not. But I did see that. So I don't know if you had any other real interaction with the players because of COVID this year or however else that all went.
They tried to keep the players away from most of the time, but we had to obviously somewhat interact with them still a little bit. But that whole what I understood, we were the only grounds crew in the whole league to basically be in the stands. And then towards the end of the season, we were all had trash cans, all banging. So we were pretty much the only ones to do that. And the players totally fed off our energy, and they even said that. And then the last game, I think it was top 7 or top 8 or something like that, they put on the Jumbotron to thank us. And then at the end of the game, we were starting to go out to the field to do post game, and the players, we were clapping for them, then they clapped for us, and then all of a sudden they just came out and gave us all high fives and stuff to congratulate us.
It's awesome.
They probably got
It
fined.
pretty much was. it was pretty cool moment.
That's awesome. Well, hey, before we let you go, I think I just want to, for all of Reds Nation, all the Reds fans, I think we just want to thank you and your team for being there for us, giving the other teams hell like we would have given them, and kind of making it. I think you guys kind of made it a little more fun during the games. I think every time they panned over to you guys, I was like, okay, what are they doing this time? So, on behalf of all of Reds Nation, we appreciate you guys for doing that.
Yeah, I mean, the crowd noise, it definitely wasn't enough. It like when the Reds weren't doing good, they would tone down the volume so you would barely hear it. But then once they start doing good, they would bring it back up. But you would hear us the whole time consistently, no matter what. So it was we were trying to make up for no fans there.
There you go. I think you guys did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I think we did too.
Well, Seth, thank you for your time tonight. We do appreciate it, and thank you for the season. Since none of us could be there, you held down the fort, my friend.
Sure.
Well, it was my honor to do that.
Cool. Well, don't forget, you can check out Seth at I can't pronounce these words,
Try
man.
that again, because I didn't know you were going to do that, so I paused. So let's try that. Check out the thing again.
All right.
On 5, 4, 3, 2.
You can check out Seth at Patonsky, PATONSKI 98 on Twitter. Seth, thank you for your time. We appreciate it, sir.
Thank you.
So that was a great interview with a member of the grounds crew. But today, there was playoff baseball. And since we do have Clay here with us, I figure we should probably talk about what it was that actually got us here. We went on an unprecedented run the end of the season, the one that I have not seen the Reds do in a very long time. We won, 9 of 11, I believe it was, to finish out the season? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So nobody thought that we could do that, though. Like, we had seen so much bad Reds this season to go 9 of 11. Again, nobody thought we could do it. All of a sudden, we're in the mix. St. Louis didn't finish their season, in my eyes. So we will never know if we could have actually surpassed them in the wild card standings to actually get that next spot up. But what did you see at the end of the season, Clay, that you felt good about going into the playoffs?
Well, there's definitely like this turning point. I think myself included, everyone kind of saw, the same team all year long. It was kind of dull, kind of boring, wasn't really getting hot, a lot of swing and misses, and they seemed to have got hot at the right time and won a couple big series and were chugging along and swept the Pirates in 4 games, then won 2 of 3 from the White Sox. I mean, the team looked like it was coming around and maybe possibly starting to become something special. Snuck into the playoffs, hit the over on the win total for the year. So they were starting to look good. And, you had a couple players playing right. And then today they had the first playoff game. And, at 10 a.m. this morning, the playoff roster was released. And for whatever reason, I looked at it and I was like, okay, let's see here, and I see, oh my God, there's Matt Davidson. And for some reason, it just took me back to near the beginning of the season when you had Matt Davidson batting, third in the lineup. I was like, no, I don't know why. It just brought back these memories and Jankowski. And I was like, oh gosh, man, these Reds have come so far since that point in such a short season. So it really kind of was funny how much of an emotional swing this season has been for the Reds.
To kind of build on that, I mean, my questions as well were, what the hell, Matt Davidson? What the hell, Travis Jankowski? What the hell, where's Disco?
Right. So A lot of people ask about Tyler Stevenson. He's not eligible because of the 10-day rule after being optioned to Prasco. It sounds weird not saying Louisville. Now Disco being left off with I tweeted about how just weird it is. He was so good at the end of last year and started off on his first couple starts this year, and he's just fallen off. And I think it's probably, when you look at the roster of pitchers, I don't know who I'm leaving off necessarily. I mean, you could say, the Wade Miley brings like a lefty bullpen / emergency long arm type guy or whatever, but I'm okay with leaving Disco off. There wasn't anything that surprised me too much. Matt Davidson was kind of surprising. Not that it really matters, but I was kind of I just thought that guy was done in a Reds uniform, but it's kind of funny. Jankowski, I get why they bring him on, plus defender, plus speed. We all know how David Bell likes to do all of his substitutions, and we saw that today in the game as well when Jankowski came in for Winker after, I think, if I remember right, Winker was hit on the shoulder or arm or something with the ball.
Looked like an elbow or a hand. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, either way, Winker gets hit by a pitch. In comes Jankowski, adding speed to the base paths. I get it. What happens? The no runs generated. And, of course, as it's happened before this year, we've seen with the Christian Colognes of sorts, it comes up to a situation where Jankowski has to bat where Winker could have batted. They pinch him with Garcia. He breaks his bat, ground out. Was it bases loaded or was it first and third in that situation?
He was first and third.
First and third.
Either way, it was another opportunity which the bat was not in Winker's hands when it could have been. I'm not saying that it's necessarily the wrong move. It's a strategy. You can agree with it. You can disagree with it. It's not just some blind substitution. I understand wanting more speed. But, man, it's those situations that just bite you, that you just – they're so hard, And when you talk about a long game, there's a lot of substitutions. I get it. But, man, that's one that you definitely want to have back.
So the optimistic Reds fan in me has some takeaways. A, we hit the ball on a relatively unhittable pitcher.
Right.
He's been really good.
Let's just be honest. The pitching in that whole game was really good, and we're still getting hits. So that's,
well, and
it's 11 hits for the Reds, 6 hits for the Braves.
And we also expended a lot of their pitching. So if this series does go 3 games, they used, I think, 8 relief pitchers, something outrageous like that.
7.
Okay.
7.
So there were some takeaways there. We also went deep on a lot of those pitchers in the count. So, again, just kind of exhausting some of the pitching. On top of that, I don't know. This is an Atlanta team that scores runs in bunches, and they really didn't do much on us.
Yeah. When I first turned on the game, I thought it would be low scoring. I didn't think it would be like this, though. Atlanta has a ton of offense, but just a true pitcher's duel today. And Atlanta, if you ask me, this is the game that you had to take from them. If you tell me Atlanta only scores 1 run, you need to win that game because they have a lot of bats. Ozuna 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. Freeman 1 hit, Acuna Jr. 1 hit, Albies 1 hit, nothing from Duvall. They're really, I expected in my mind before the game, I said the Reds have to score 4 or 5 runs to potentially win, even with Bauer on the mound, because I think that highly of this Atlanta offense. So in a game which they only score 1 run, it's just so frustrating to watch the game. And you see Barnhart swinging out of the zone. You see Farmer chasing a terrible pitch.
Well,
and
that's
one of those games that you just really, really wish you could have back. It's one of those games after all the momentum they've built up after the past couple of weeks. You look at this and it's just kind of like, man, where do you go from here? Is tomorrow going to be more of the same? Is it going to be completely different? I'm just glad it's a noon game so I don't have to be in my own head all day about it.
Well, and there's a lot of
Great
questions
point.
there's a lot of questions I have on the game. A, why was Kyle Farmer starting? B, what happened in that base running gaff with Kyle Farmer and Aristides Aquino? Because that was a hot mess.
That was a call by David Bell.
Was
He
it a
said-
hit? Was it supposed to be a hit and run though? Was it supposed to be trying to a trick play where he's running to second and then? Because if that's what we're doing in playoffs, that's not the people you want out there
Well,
doing
honestly,
that.
It was probably a hit and run call. I don't think it was a trick play because if you watch Aquino, I can't pronounce his name, but if you watch him, he like walked back to third base after
With his
they
head
got-
down.
With his head down, so there was no way that was a trick play. But I mean, there was a point where that could have came out pretty good for us, but it definitely did not. I think it was just
I guess my biggest question though is why weren't we running out a similar lineup to what won 9 of 11 games instead of switching it up with Kyle Farmer, switching it up with Aquino? What's the mindset?
So when I first saw this, first thing I thought of, and it's not that I even agree with this. Personally, I think it's smart to do lefty-righty matchup splits. Sure, to an extent. I think David Bell is a little bit too sold on it. Farmer's hitting 425 at-bats against lefties this year. So I understand where he would want to start Farmer against a lefty, although I'm not necessarily saying that I would.
I mean, don't get me wrong, because Galvis proceeded to look at 3 straight strikes with the only opportunity he was given, and that wasn't any better than Kyle Farmer.
Yeah, but I'm totally with you, especially because Galvis has been looking pretty good, if you ask me, recently. It's one of those deals that we talked about this before the season. We talked about this last offseason. I feel like as a Cincinnati Reds fan, you've been talking about this every year since Barry Larkin. The shortstop situation, everyone's saying, wait up, Lindor, this, that, the other, Didi, go get somebody. Oh, wait, we're sticking with Galvis. Okay, here's this kid that blew up in spring training. He must be the answer. You cannot rely on a 22-year-old, never hit above high A rookie to come in and save your season. That's foolish. So the Reds were going to live and die by Freddie Galvis, and the only other option really is Kyle Farmer. I mean, this is something that, as much as they did this offseason, this is one of those things that you look back and you say, everyone was asking about, what are you doing about shortstop? And they really did address it, and that's 100% on them, if you ask me. Yeah, because it's frustrating seeing that, shortstop position kind of neglected.
Is this the last game that we've seen Trevor Bauer?
oh god.
Wow, coming in with a tough question right there.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, if we literally do not win this series and he puts out the performance that he put out today, what makes him want to stick around here?
Yeah, so to me, it's regardless, based off what we saw today, I don't know if this is a series the Reds will win. I personally don't see them winning 2 in a row against the Braves. Is it his last start with the Reds? If I was a betting man, I'd have to say yes. Just because you have to go off the Reds' past. When have the Reds, really shelled out the money? It's going to be a humongous contract for Trevor Bauer. He's at that 29-year-old age where, you're in your prime, and it's not one of these like 25-year-old guys who may take a 3-year deal, cash in. It's not that at all. This is his deal. I know he says he takes 1-year deals, maybe either way. He's going to max out his probably earning potential in this offseason. When in the past have the Reds ever shown that they're willing to spend? Maybe you can say, Joey Votto, okay, one example. Other than that, they don't really go out and sign big free agents. The ones that they do are Moustakas, who is making $16 million a year. Okay, Bauer's probably going to make, maybe double that. at least 10,000 or at least
Well,
10 million more than that. I mean,
and-
you're talking a different, level of free agency there.
One of the questions I saw on Twitter put out by Chad Brendel of BearcatJournal.com, where you can also catch my articles and podcasts, by the way. Feel free to
What
check
a
that out.
shameless plug.
That's fine. But he put out Trevor Bauer, 2 years, $75 million. Who says no? And I responded, Bob Castellini says no. What do you mean? Like, even if you have a player option as a second year, that's fine. Bob Castellini says no. He's not signing anybody for 2 years, $75 million. Not now.
I hate to be this guy, but at the end of the day, Trevor Bauer has had an incredible year, and he's going to win the Cy Young. I will never argue about this year. Let's not forget what he looked like last year. And if you even look at his career years, I mean, he's a really, really good pitcher. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like he's the most consistent pitcher in the world. It's not like you're paying for someone who's going to go out there every single year and just, have performances game after game like he has this year. I think it's people kind of forget that, he's not that far removed from not being a top level pitcher. But I mean, I'm not taking anything away from him. I just want people to realize, all because of this year, don't put on those goggles of super fan. Oh my gosh, the Reds didn't sign him to the Garrett Cole deal type thing or whatever. He's going to earn every penny. He's probably going to be one of the highest paid pitchers, but it's not like he has this track record coming out that is the most consistent pitcher in the league or anything. I mean, how many people were upset about him last year? Do you not remember? He came to Cincinnati and put up, 56 innings for people who are about ERA and like that stat, 6.39. Some people were saying this is a bad deal. This is, he has to figure it out.
But how much had he sent in already? Like, when the Reds weren't in contention, like you send it in, you go out and you do what you have to do to get through the game and go to the next game because you're not playing for anything at that point.
Right. If I'm the Reds, I'm obviously offering him a contract. I just don't see how someone like, a large market team, this is an entirely different discussion, but it's a part of the reason why I like salary cap in other sports. Because in baseball, you get super teams. I mean, there was a time, I know I've said this before, I remember I was watching a Dodgers game a few years ago, and their dead cap money, the money they're paying players to not be on their team, was higher than the entire payroll for the Reds. How do you make a competitive sport like that? So, I mean, I'm kind of getting off on a rant there, but
You're fine.
I can see where a big market team comes in and says, all right, Trevor Bauer, we are that piece away. One team that is in position, I'm not saying this is a prediction or anything, but if I'm the Angels, why am I not doing that? I mean, I know they kind of suck right now, but you've got to show something for your fans. And poor Mike Trout, man. Hey, I'll trade right now. Christian Colon straight up for Mike Trout.
Nobody takes that deal.
Offers good to the end of the night.
I'll take it.
But, yeah, I mean, some teams are just maybe that player away. Maybe they're willing to give him more money than the Reds will be. I think he likes it in Cincinnati. I don't think he has any locker room issues or any issues with the city. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I think that there's, plenty of other players that need to get paid and positions that you can upgrade as well. So it'll be interesting to see.
I think it's a good point that you just brought up here. Like, I don't think he has any gripes with Cincinnati. As a matter of fact, I think I don't know this for a fact, but I would imagine he respects ownership and management for allowing him to do what he does and not giving him, at least that we have heard, a hard time. I mean, he does his vlog, he tweets, he does all that, and I haven't heard one time management saying, you got to knock it off because you're ticking off the commissioner. So I mean, I guess we have that going for us.
Yeah. And
I don't know, have you guys been watching COVID season?
I haven't.
No.
Awkward that episode 23 dropped in the middle of the second inning today.
Where do people find the time to? Every time I talk to someone, they're saying they're watching a Trevor Bauer video. I mean, how many does he have out?
23.
23 of them? How long are they? An hour?
10 minutes.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah,
All
they're
on
not
YouTube,
that long.
right?
Yeah, they're all on YouTube on this Momentum channel. But, I mean, they're pretty good. I mean, also, I mean, just because it's Trevor Bauer, but also it's because, you are getting an insight and, like, backstage look at what this COVID season looked like. Just the different rules and how they literally are sitting at different tables from each other and all this kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool. Although it also shows that, like, when they're supposed to, like, so when we guess it was Senzel had COVID, him and Sonny Gray were meeting up at Xavier High School and throwing BP and swimming at Sonny Gray's house, and all those times they're supposed to be social distancing, they definitely weren't. But
Oh, Sonny Gray. You
hey,
and
real quick,
your 14-year-old man beard.
while we got a break in between subjects, I want to make sure that everybody knows they can go to ptpcincy.wordpress.com and click on the shop today. Tomorrow there is a 15% off. I didn't do that. See, there you go. I didn't do that. The company did that. But we have our Clay Snowden shirt in here. The ketchup, mustard, relish, onion, kraut, jalapenos, banana peppers, hot sauce, and cheese.
I'm buying it right now.
Good
There's a
through
product-
October 1st, right?
What's that?
The discount's good through October 1st.
Yeah, like 2 days. Yeah, something like that. It says.
Wasn't there also a Dugout Mugs promo?
Not yet.
All right.
Coming soon.
Just kidding.
I am currently buying the. If I can find it on here, yes, here it is. The store. I'm gonna buy the hot dog. By the way, how did that hot dog look I had the other night?
Deep fried jalapenos you had on top of it?
No, they were just pickled jalapenos and banana peppers and mustard and whatever I had in the fridge. Pickles.
It looked good to me. I mean, I'm not a big jalapeno fan though. So
Oh, come on.
I don't like spicy things.
He's the worst.
It makes me poop. I don't know what you want to do.
That's fair.
So,
Well,
Clay, moving off of that subject, Jesus.
You're welcome. Thank you.
How do you expect the lineup to look different tomorrow in what could be the last game of our season?
So tomorrow's lineup, it's going to be hard to predict. I mean, I feel like sometimes these lineups can be kind of out there, but before I dive too far into that, I just want a quick question. What did you all think of Senzel in the leadoff?
He had a game today. I'll be first to say, I was worried when he had the shoulder nick. When he dove back into first base, I thought he was going to be injured again because that's who Senzel is, unfortunately. But he played through it. That's the first time I think we've seen him play through an injury. And I'm all for that. I was actually upset when they substituted him out for Shogo, considering he was 2 for 4. He was the only him and Castellanos at that point were the only ones who had 2 hits, much less a hit. And then, to bring in at that point, I think they brought in Shogo when they subbed out for him, and then they didn't really give Shogo a very long leash either before they made the move to bring. I know they brought Goodwin in at center field, but they pinch hit. Who did they pinch hit for him? I can't remember.
When
Before they put Goodwin in, they pinch hit for
Galvis was
Yeah,
Shogo?
it was Galvis for Shogo.
He just left the bat on his shoulders.
Man, I don't even want to talk about that anymore. But what do you think we see? Like I said, I mean, I was good with Senzel having leadoff. He hit the ball. He was 2 for 33 before today. I remember seeing that stat. And today he was 2 for 4. So he already has as many hits in 4 at-bats in one game than he had for the last 33.
Yeah. So tomorrow's lineup, Ian Anderson's a right-handed pitcher for the Braves. You may see Shogo slot in there instead of Aquino. Other than that, I mean, what are you all changing? What are you doing about shortstop? You got to ask yourself that. I mean, Farmer's going to be out. Put Galvis back in. That's the most likely move. Castillo's pitching. Do you see Barnhart catching maybe? Barnhart came in and, got his chance to go 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts today. Good job, Tucker.
And he didn't strike out 4 times like Adam Duvall.
Right, that's true. I just don't know what the answer is right now with Winker. I mean, he had a hit today, but he has been so cold. And it's just one of those deals that you can't take him out of the lineup necessarily, or could you?
If you do, I think you put in Aquino because Aquino got on base today.
Yeah, if there was a chance to sit Winker, you would have done it today, right, against a lefty, even though he's been doing okay against lefties. But, just in theory, with David Bell and his so much righty-lefty matchup, but then Aquino would have – but then, he was DHing today. You could have played anybody. Oh, wait up. If they didn't send down Stevenson, then you could have played DH, but no. Votto, I mean, he's going to be in there. It's pretty much going to be the same lineup, I think, except for
Galvis, Farmer,
right,
Casale, Barnhart.
Right, but in terms of the order, I think it'll be pretty similar. I'm looking at it right now. I can't really think of.
You think Shogo starts?
I don't think so. I think that they like to use Shogo coming off the bench too. I mean, the fact of the matter is the way that David Bell's managing, it doesn't really matter if you start or not. You're going to come off the bench. I mean, 3 at-bats off the bench. I mean, you're going to play off the bench, it looks like. I just hope that tomorrow's lineup, man, it's so hard to say because, I don't think that, the lineup was the issue today, really. I really don't. I don't have an issue with Farmer starting. I don't have an issue with the order that they were batting. I don't have an issue with anything. I have an issue with base running. I have an issue with some of Votto's play at second base. I have an issue with bad contact.
I think that's largely in part due to the Kyle Farmer start. He was the one on base when you had the base running blunder.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
he was 0 for 5. Hit the ball.
Yeah.
Hit the ball. Not that Galvis did anything in that one at bat, but I don't know if you give him 5 at bats that it goes the same.
Yeah. And I think I'm looking at Galvis's splits too. I'm and Farmer's, obviously looked awful today. And I mean, Galvis is batting 220 in his past 30 days, 280 in his past 15 days, 333 in his past 7 days, home runs in each of that.
I just feel like you give Kyle Farmer that start in the regular season when you're oh, you've been playing well lately. Not what have you done for me over the culmination of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. Galvis is not the best. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's pretty awful that we have to sit here and discuss which shitty shortstop is less shitty. It's just the fact of the matter. This all goes back to the original point. Shortstop wasn't addressed, or if it was addressed, it was addressed not inappropriately. But I mean, Galvis as the starting shortstop for a playoff team, that's just not typically a winning formula.
I don't know. All I know, tomorrow you got Castillo going on the hill, and if it comes to it, you got Sonny Gray. If it comes to it, I don't know that Trevor Bauer isn't available out of the bullpen in 2 days.
If you ask Trevor Bauer, he'll probably pitch tomorrow.
He said he was exhausted after the game, but I just saw something on Facebook that I think you guys are going to enjoy. A friend of mine who collects baseballs like me just got a ball back. It's signed by Adam Dunn, and on one side of the ball it says, "Do you have your shirt on?" And on the other side it's signed by Marty Brenneman, and it says, "Last time I checked, I did."
I hate you.
Hey guys, I want to update you. It's been ordered. The shirts come in the mail.
All right.
So
That's a nice shirt though, right? I mean, I got the hat, so the hat is great.
The shirt I'm wearing, yeah, it's a great shirt.
There you go. See,
I know I asked you if this was Trevor Bauer's last start, but would you have pulled Trevor Bauer at 103 pitches?
I'm so bad at the when to pull people thing because it's the easiest thing to critique. Because if it goes well, and like Iggy, he came in and pitched well, like then you don't say much. But people love to talk whenever it goes poorly. In the situation that they were in, he was at how many pitches again?
103.
103 when he came out. I mean, he only gave up 2 hits. But I think that's one of those situations where it has more to do with not how great his Bauer pitching is. This will be their, third or fourth time around seeing him against a really good offensive team. Why not? And it shows trust. Iggy's been pitching well. They went Iggy, Sims, Lorenzen. Okay, that was 4.1 innings, if I'm looking at that right. 1 hit.
Yeah.
I mean, all those guys have been pitching well. Why not turn it over to them? And don't allow some of those, top hitters on the Braves to see another go around of Bauer, give them something different. I'm okay with it. I'm never one to be too critical about a move like that unless it's, taking the starter out in the 5th inning, and he's pitching well or something like that. But it's always funny when you get to that 8th inning, 7 to 8 innings, leaving someone in, taking them out, and it's always just one pitch away from a bad decision. And I like I said, I have complete faith in Iglesias, which saying that, or I have complete faith in Lorenzen and Iglesias here on September 30th. June 30th, my gosh, totally different story. But yeah, I'm okay with it. Let the bullpen come in and do their job. I mean, you have to have faith in them. You have to trust them. And so I like the way that everyone pitched today. Bradley coming in. That's kind of a tough spot. It was one of those deals, like, I just felt the whole game, once it got to about the 7th inning or 8th inning, I was like, man, the Reds can't win this. There's just no way. I just didn't feel like they had their opportunity had it slip. I was like, this is just not meant to be for this game. And then, somebody had to score at some point in time. And the way that their relievers were coming in, and that lefty who I've never heard of, who pitched for Colorado a few years back, came in and he allowed, 2 hits and struck out 4. But it was just one of those. When I saw the defense or the base running errors, I was just like, that's not what true winning teams do. They don't make simple base running errors. They're laser focused. And I'm not really sure what the hell Joey Votto was doing on that hit by Suarez. I think it was that. Votto went back to second base and didn't get to have a chance to score. I mean, it's stuff like that when you're like, man, this team it wasn't meant to be for them today.
So as we go around the horn and we make predictions for tomorrow, I'm going to start with you, Ed, because Clay actually gives good insight when he gives predictions. But how do you feel we do tomorrow?
I think tomorrow's a better game. I'm going to say we come out on top 5-2. And Winker gets back.
Before,
I'm sorry. I'm calling a Winker and a Votto home run.
Well, before Clay gives his insight, I will say I'm going to say 5-4 because I don't think we're going to hold them that low again. I do not see us holding them to 1 run. And I think I'm being generous because it's the homer in me actually talking. I'm terrified we're going to lose this game, and I'm terrified we're going to be out. But I do think Castillo's been pitching very well as of late, and so he's got to go at least 6-1, if not 7, for us to actually win this one. And with that all said, 5-4. We eke one out, and it's not gonna be pretty again.
Yeah. Ian Anderson starting what is he? I think 22-year-old starting in the postseason here against Castillo is 4-0 in his last 4 starts, 1.26 ERA, just dealing. I think Castillo is going to be the big ticket here. Now, the issue is if we don't have 4 runs by the 6th or 7th inning, like you were saying, Aaron, we're not going to win. I think you can get – if they get to Anderson early, young guy, kind of, get him rattled in a postseason appearance like this, it's a lot of pressure. If they can get to him early, that's going to be the key. And I thought that's what was going to happen today. They were jumping on pitches aggressive early, and I liked that. But, yeah, Castillo, I mean, once we get to our bullpen, you've got to ask yourself who's available, who would they pitch. And, man, we used a lot of big arms today. And I'm not saying that they won't pitch tomorrow. It's just, today was the freshest that they'll be for the rest of the season.
Well,
right?
you can say the same thing for Atlanta, though.
Right.
They used everyone. They literally used everyone.
Right. So, it's going to be really interesting to see what the lineup looks like, to see if Bell's making any big changes. But my prediction, I hate to say it, but I think Cincy's going to lose this one. I do. I think it's going to be something in that.
Cut him off, Ed. Cut him off.
3. All right, bye, Clay. See you later, bud.
I'll say 2-5.
You're the worst.
2 to 5.
That's the exact opposite of what I said.
Oh, is it? I didn't even realize.
It was.
I hope I'm wrong. Maybe I'm doing some reverse psychology, jinxing, whatever thing right now because you all both said win. Someone's got to say.
I don't know. Just whatever you wore today, everyone, whoever's listening to this, whoever's here on the podcast, anyone out there in the universe, first off, manifest it. And second, whatever you wore today, just none of that shit tomorrow.
I have a really bad confession that I'm ready to make this confession. I haven't told anybody this yet, but my Shogo Akiyama jersey, which is incredibly awesome and also bought for $13 from China, I wore it today, and I am now 0-4 in the Shogo Akiyama jersey.
It's your fault.
I may just burn it.
I just realized I'm wearing the 2013 playoff hat, team issued. So that's
okay.
Not,
you guys are all the worst.
That's bad juju. I won't wear
the
this
Shogo
hat tomorrow.
Akiyama jersey's out. The Amir Garrett jersey is in tomorrow. After he had he gave up the hit today. Don't care, sticking with my guy. Amir Garrett jersey on tomorrow for the loss.
Tomorrow is the "We're a fucking nightmare. Everybody knows it. I can't wait" T-shirt. I don't care what anybody says on my team meetings at work.
We're not going to talk about A-Rod, are we?
He was horrible. I like him on Shark Tank. I don't like him announcing games.
He's an idiot. That's about all I have to say.
He's a beautiful man next to a beautiful woman.
That's
all I have to say.
Somebody tweeted, "A man who has more hits than most people in the Major League Baseball sure does love to talk about bunting."
All day.
All day, every day.
You know what? I think he said a lot of stupid stuff. I was getting tired of every single situation he had to bring back to his own playing career. Like, we know you played, and it's cool when former players tell stories at the right time. You don't have to tell me a story for every single. Oh man, he just struck out on strike 3 when I was in Seattle.
It felt like he didn't do his homework. It literally felt like he didn't do his homework.
I was so pissed off about Aquino. I don't even want to get into it, but
about how he was tall and that was it.
It was like, holy shit, Aquino. I didn't have this guy on my notes. Someone prepped me. Oh, he looks tall. He's powerful. He has a great body. Let me read what's on his baseball reference page. Oh, he was signed as a 16-year-old. Like, what?
By the end of the game, the only thing that A-Rod could say about him was he was wearing Eric Davis's old number.
I heard that too.
So he said that twice, okay?
Because he had nothing.
Which I think he has a list of 10
facts
things that he came up with. And when it was like in the 12th inning, he's like, shit, I'm just going to start at the top of the list again, roll back through, and hopefully there's new listeners by now.
Did he say he was tall again?
Well, I think Aquino was, taken out by then or whatever. Yeah, or not taken out, but wasn't batting. But I'm sure if he was, the tall comment would come back.
Unreal.
When he walked out of the house this morning, he said, "Hey, Jenny, I got Jenny from the block. I got 10 things written down. It's gonna be a great day.
10.
About 10, maybe. No,
J-Lo, you're still a fly girl. Fly girl.
wait, this is Lady Gaga. I typed in J-Lo.
You fail.
This is so embarrassing.
He's
This
the
is the
worst.
second time you failed. First it was Coney's, and now it's Lady Gaga.
Hey.
The worst.
Did I really fail though? When I mean,
Yeah, you did.
Okay, fine.
100%.
he still
Hey.
came on.
The interview with the mayor was incredible, by the way, guys. Great job.
Appreciate that, sir.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, I think we're done here unless anybody has any last words.
Is it too late to call? Is it too late to call up Nick Williams, the outfielder that we acquired from waivers from Philly, considering that the only players who played well today were named Nick?
Clay thinks we're done tomorrow. On that note, I think Clay's done today. So for Ed, for Clay Snowden, I'm Aaron Smith. This is Pardon the Punctuation. We're out.
Peace.